Hi, everyone. We have Johnathan Boyle and Joey Chan with us today to pick their brains on real estate. Thank you guys so much for joining. So, we met at one of the meetup events in New York City, and I was very intrigued by your partnership, your previous experience in the real estate space. So, I wanted to turn it over to you to give our audience an introduction.
Yeah, thank you, Christina, for the introduction. Glad to be on the show.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having us.
I guess to kick things off, can you talk about where, I guess a lot of our audience, especially me, is we're new to the real estate space where we always have had interest in getting started. So take us back to where it all began, and then how your paths merged and you guys became, partners in deals.
Okay, I mean, Joey, do you want to start or should I? I don't know.
Sure, I can start it off.
Okay.
So I started doing a couple of I started off basically doing single family flips. My background is basically contracting. So I started doing a few flips, and then I was I was looking at a project in Belleville, New Jersey. Basically, that's kind of where uh, John, kind of grew up, and that's kind of uh, his circle, right? So he kind of knows that area very well. Um, so I basically I saw John basically on Facebook all the time, posting about his deals, things that he's working on and things like that. And then I called him up one day and I said, "Hey, I have this deal in Belleville. It's a smaller multifamily. Would you want to basically give me your analysis on it, because I didn't know the town as well as I do now, but basically he gave me his analysis, told me that it was a good deal, and I kind of surprised him. I said, "Hey, would you want to partner with me on this deal?" This is kind of going back to, what year is this? 2017.
I think it's like 2017, 2018, around there.
Yeah, like towards the end. So this partnership of ours, it's kind of going way back. So basically, that was our first deal. It was more like a joint venture deal, kind of like a one-off deal. Um, but when I tend to pick people or business partners, um, I base it more or less on personality and and kind of like what they could bring to the table. You know, so I needed someone who was pretty analytical, right? And John can go through his own background about that. But yeah, that was basically my first experience with him. Actually, before that, I tried to wholesale him a couple of deals that I was doing, but none of those stick. So
Yeah. So, all right, I guess I'll go through my background a little bit better now. I got into real estate, I would say, like I was intrigued around 2016 or so. So I started doing research. I like to consider myself actively lazy. So, what I mean by that is like I want to work really, really hard for like incremental periods of time. So that way I could just relax more because that's just my personality. So, again, real estate was perfect. So I got started listening to a lot of podcasts. And like one thing really stuck with me was that all deals only need three things, and that's time, money, and knowledge. Well, I didn't have any money at the time. So, like that was out the window. I had a lot of time because I was I was going to Columbia University at the time, and I didn't really have too much knowledge. So I decided, hey, let me get my real estate license. So I got it. Still didn't really know too much, but I started working with investors that were buying things like in 2016, 2017-ish. And around 2017 is when I kind of like jumped in somewhere between 2017 2018. So that's actually when I guess Joey kind of saw what I was doing, because my first project was a short sale. Had no idea what I was doing, but I like leaned on a lot of other professionals on how, like how the short sale process worked, how to get funding, how to do the renovations, the permit process. Like I basically leaned on everyone for that. And, I learned. So while I was learning, I posted a lot of stuff, and people probably swear that I was doing like 3, 4, 5 projects at a time at that time, but no, I was literally just posting that same project just in different angles. So it looks like I know what I'm doing. I'm really knowledgeable.
He
And
fooled me. He fooled me.
yeah, I fooled you.
I'm kidding.
Because like with that one project, then I bought another property in Belleville, and like I posted that one and I showed a lot about that. And that's around the same time frame. Joey mentioned to me, "Hey, I have this project in Belleville. Can you come check it out?" And so, like my thing was, especially when I was starting out, is that like I had no intent. Like I just felt like giving it forward. I had no intent that, oh, I'm gonna go look at this project and then I'm gonna partner with Joey. It was more like, oh, I'm gonna look at it. I'm analyzing it for myself for, whatever purposes in the future, so that way I can learn. And, like I could help out someone because, you never know down the road if something bigger could happen. And well, boy, it did. So, so after I did the analysis and I said that it was a good deal, Joey asked me if I wanted to partner. And it was funny because like I was really broke at that time. I said sure, but I kind of figured out the money later, like putting in my half. Like at that point I was actually living off credit cards. And Joey didn't know this until years later. Because I just wanted to make sure I wanted to partner with other people. So yeah, that's kind of how I got started, and that's how Joey and I met. It was like a one-off JV deal, and then there was another one I think we did in like Plainfield, then another one in Plainfield, then so on and so forth. We would do one-offs up until COVID hit, and then we kind of decided, hey, it's kind of stupid to just do one-offs with each other all the time. Let's form a business. And Joey also did a lot of one-offs with our other partner, Mark. So he thought like, myself and Mark's personalities would mesh, which, we kind of did pretty well. So now we have a business together.
That's awesome. So you talk about a lot about personality match. So I guess in terms of all three partners, like how would you describe each one of your personality and how does that all work together? I'm sure everyone has their own strengths that they bring to the table, right?
Yeah. So for me, I'm kind of I think we're all very analytical in our own ways, right? So as far as like construction and projects, that's kind of where I come in, or and don't get me wrong, I also know how to do underwriting and stuff like that as well, but I'd rather not if I didn't have to. I'd rather just lean on these two guys, let them do it, because my thing is really not like so much numbers, but it's more the progress in the field, right? Taking that project from basically 0 to 100, and then seeing it through. That's kind of my strength. So I think I tend to be a very trusting person. So I've had other business partners in the past, with different businesses that I've done, and they've all been good friends until the end, until we split up our businesses, right? But like I said, it's all been fairly successful, but because of goals that we want in life, we kind of had to go our separate ways. Yeah.
So I guess just to piggyback off of what Joe was saying, like one of my roles, I guess you could say, is And don't get me wrong, we all kind of do it. But I like to, like, Joey, he likes to network clearly. But, I like to network as well. And sometimes we're in different circles, for whatever reason. So, like, we help raise money for some of our, like fix and flips, some of our rentals, some, and eventually for, like bigger syndications as GPs. But like we also, like, I also, get deals sent to me by different wholesalers because sometimes Joey might not know this guy, I do, and vice versa. And I just typically do the analysis whenever we get deals to see if it's worth our time or not. Unfortunately, in the last couple months, it really hasn't been, but like it's definitely something that I like to say is one of my strengths because I always look at a project at how we can do the highest and best use of our time. So, like, if we're buying a property, like a single family house, what's the best use? Is it that we just buy it and then we just put paint on it and then put it on the market and sell it? Is it that we have it under contract and we wholesale it, or is it that we buy it, we do like a complete renovation, and then we sell it? And sometimes we realize, well, a lot of times we realize, especially in this market, that what we do is just the you know light lipstick on a pig and just sell it that way. So yeah, that's basically kind of what I do. What Mark does, our other partner, is he's been helping with our own personal deal flow, meaning like, with our lead generation. He works with our virtual assistants and tries to figure out, like what, leads could actually turn into deals for us. Right now, we're slowly transitioning from, like doing all these fix and flips to now we want to, do bigger projects, like 50, 100 units or whatever.
Got it. This kind of organically leads to my next question in terms of building out your team. So it seems like everyone really has their specialization. However, you guys still work together and kind of help each other do everything, but everyone has their own, like, again, specialization. So can you talk about some of the key indicators of what you look for in like your deals? Like, I know you guys done several deals, so it's probably very it varies, right? But what are some of like the 3 core things you guys look at and then kind of decide how, if you want to sell it, rent it out, like what does that framework look like for you guys?
Do you want me to answer or should I do it?
Yeah, probably better for you.
Okay, so I would basically say that, I mean, the generic number is 70% of ARV or after repair value minus repairs, but that's like not 100% accurate because again, it really depends on the property. If we're gonna be in there for like a year just doing renovations, then it's got to be really, really worth it for us. Like, for example, right now we have a 2-family in Belleville, and unfortunately, with like a lot of permit issues, survey issues, like a lot of different things, it's been pushed out later than we expected. But because it's multifamily, it's worth it to us because we could keep it as a rental, or just in general, the multifamily market is very, very, very limited right now. So that's a project that, like, regardless of like how long it's been taking, it's definitely worth it for us. Now, if that was like a single family, then I don't know if it would have been, something that we'd enjoy doing, if that makes sense. But then there's also the latter where we like to do as minimal as possible with most of our projects, especially with how many we have going on. Because like if we could just, like paint, maybe put new countertop and then stage it and it looks brand new, then, why not? And, make a good amount of money from it.
And you mentioned all the projects that's happening simultaneously. So what does a typical day look like for you guys? Do you guys visit every property? Is it just as needed? What does your day look like for both Joey and Jonathan?
So for us both, I think because our roles are slightly different. So as far as myself, I try to visit the properties as much as I can, but because we have almost 20 properties, it's nearly impossible to visit every property, every day, right? And not there are a lot of properties where really nothing's going on, so there's really not much to see, as far as some of the properties. So the only ones that I actively visit are the ones that we are actively renovating.
Hmm.
Okay. So, for example, right now we have about 5 properties we're actively renovating. So I will visit at least 2 to 3 of them every few days, not every day, of course, right? Because within a few days, there's not enough progress to really, like, you're not going to see enough progress, to you go there and see it. There's nothing changes from day to day, so it's better to go every few days. But not only that, I go because I have to. I'm also the construction manager there, right? Whereas it's my own crew, so they're the one doing all the work there. But at the same time, I get daily updates, where I get photos and pictures or even videos from my employees, so that definitely helps for me to know what's going on there. And we do have, for example, we have I think around 22 or 23 units in South Jersey. So down there, we don't visit that often. We have a property manager that exclusively handles those properties. So we basically talk to her like almost every day.
Yeah, no, literally every day.
Yeah, every day, right? So we have a Facebook chat with her, and because some of the properties have active construction going on or repairs, so we're always talking to her. What needs to happen. So she's both our property manager and construction manager. Which is good for her, because now she gets to make a little bit of income, besides just like property maintenance and things like that.
The
Go ahead.
Sorry, clarifying question. The 23 units are in like different. There's like separate 23 separate units, right?
Yeah. So there are four different properties. So the smallest one is a 3-family. The largest one is an 11.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So right now the 11 we're actively doing construction on. So we had one tenant that actually just moved out literally yesterday. So now we plan to go there on Monday, and we have to renovate that unit now that it's vacant.
Yeah,
So
and no, no, I was gonna say my fun part about this, just talking with our property manager Carly. Apparently, because it's in Atlantic City, so like it's not the best of town or cities, I guess you could say. And apparently, a lot of people go to the back of our apartment complex, and they smoke crack. So yeah, and it's funny because our property manager, she was, I guess, trying to be reasonable with them and talking to them like, hey, can you please move and smoke your crack somewhere else? And I'm just like, yeah, that's not what you can do. So instead, we actually had her have someone come out and fence like our property line pretty much, so that way they can't just be doing it out in our backyard anymore. So yeah, that's just a fun story. Like things that people don't tell you about real estate that actually do happen. So
yeah, we're also gonna be putting up cameras. I'm kind of surprised we haven't had that. Like we didn't have cameras already there, but we're gonna be putting up cameras now.
yeah, and we're beginning of April, we're gonna have some construction crews there because we have 2 storefronts, and we're basically gonna make them like vanilla boxes for whoever wants to move in there. We're actually thinking of potentially having a laundromat and some sort of deli or some sort of like restaurant, or not restaurant, but like some sort of like convenience store as the 2 tenants there.
Nice. Look at you guys. Sounds like Monopoly. All these
It's
storefronts and
lit-
like buildings.
fun fact, Atlantic Monopoly is actually based on the streets in Atlantic City.
So it's nice to set that and very
Yeah.
in theme. John, you gotta tell me how your day looks like. I know you're actively lazy, but I'm sure you are doing a hell of a lot every day, right?
And now, so my day pretty much consists of kind of like looking at the property or looking at the projects, just like like on pen and paper or like on my computer. Like, okay, where are we at with this one? So then I just start asking questions to people for the most part. Now there are I think, yeah, there's one project that I'm kind of spearheading that Joey isn't really the construction manager to. But like besides that, I literally just like go through all, like each project daily and see what needs to be done. So like we also have an Airbnb, so typically I'm the face whenever like we have a guest and they have questions, I answer that type of stuff. And yeah, that's kind of what most of my day consists of. Like we're looking at, like doing other things. Like, of course, we're looking to revamp our podcast once again, Newbie Real Estate Investors podcast on YouTube and Spotify, small plug.
I
And
listened. I'm following you guys on Spotify. I listened to almost all of the podcasts. They're great. I really enjoyed them.
thank
Thanks
you.
so
Thank
much.
you. Yeah, so we're looking to revamp that shortly, and then we're also looking to set up our own meetup group in the northern New Jersey area. I think we mentioned that to you offline. So, like, I'm just trying. I guess we're just trying to get certain things in line before doing it all. Like, I know we wanted to do our meetup at our office, but there's like minor issues that we still need to address. And we're also looking at yeah, basically and then of course we're looking at bigger syndications as well. So like we're part of Rod Khleif's what do you call it, like their warriors program.
Mhm.
So like I'm going through the classes and like slowly understanding everything better, so that way when we're 100% ready, then I can just analyze deals like left and right.
How did you guys learn about syndications? I only learned about it 4 months ago. To me, I've always been exposed to like single or like 2-family duplexes, but never to the scale of like 100+ units.
Personally, I've learned about it a long time ago, but just never understood, or I never knew how to get into it. I always thought that you kind of have to sort of graduate into it. But after going to several meetups and things like that, I found out like, oh, you can just jump right into it. And I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know that. So I guess for me personally, like it's kind of like I think I know a little bit too much, where it kind of scares you, or analysis paralysis a little bit. So that's why I'm like, we just gotta like just kind of jump into it. Just start analyzing deals and then seeing if those deals actually make sense.
Yeah. So the way I learned about syndication was kind of similar, that, you have to graduate into it. And yes and no, it's not the case. Like if you have the network and like you have the credibility and everything like that, then yes, that's a good way to jump in right away. But like I know with certain people, like for example, myself, when I was getting started, at least from what I see, like I don't think I would have had the credibility to just say, hey, here's this 100 units that I'm looking to buy. So, buy with me.
Based on a lot of the meetups I've been to and sponsors or GPs I've spoken to, it's all about like teamwork. Like you got to find people who are more experienced and like leverage their network and their track record, and that's how you get into the game. Is my interpretation.
Exactly. That's kind of what I did when I got started in real estate, fixing and flipping.
And you got to do it all over again for syndications.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like learning a whole new thing now.
I guess for some of the remaining minutes we have left, I wanted to kind of go over your first syndication deal, Joey, and can you talk a little bit, kind of provide us a 3,000 feet overview of, where the deal, how did you find the deal, what was your role, some of the returns or some of the numbers you're from the deal.
So that deal, so the deal is basically I just participated as an LP investor. So I don't know if we clarified that.
No, go ahead. You can,
So yeah, as an LP investor, you're basically a passive investor. Okay. Meaning you're really not doing a whole lot, right? So you're being presented by the GP, which is LP means limited partners, and then GP is general partner. So the general partners are the operators, right? The people that actually do find the deal, that put together the memorandum and everything else. And then as the limited partner, or we call it investors, right? You're the person that actually puts the money into the deal. Okay, so I invested into, so this is kind of my way to break into the syndication space, right? As being an investor. So being that investor, you're also sort of analyzing the deal as well, because you don't want to get into a deal where it's not going to make money. So you kind of have to sort of vet the GP, the team, right? Who are they? What is their track record? Okay. So I was kind of fortunate because I knew one of the general partners. I used to go to his meetups all the time here in New Jersey, and then he kind of moved out of state, so kind of left the this whole state with like a little void as far as multifamily meetup events. So that's kind of where myself and John, we were like, hey, why don't we fill that void? Yeah, and then also at the same time, we have our newbie kind of brand, right? So
Right.
kind of bring newbie into the multifamily space. So that's kind of our idea. So going back to the whole multifamily thing, so because I kind of knew him, and he had done multiple deals already in the past, I kind of like attached myself, and always got his emails and things like that. And then I reached out to him and several other general partners that I kind of knew as well. And so basically mostly everybody's requirement is that you be an accredited investor, meaning you have to make 200,000 as a single person, or married 300,000, or have over $1 million net worth. That's one way, as a to get into the syndication space. So it's not really like open to everybody, so to speak.
Right.
The other way to get in is to be a sophisticated investor. But I'm throwing a lot of things here. So, but not a lot of syndications open themselves up to. So as a sophisticated investor, you can only invest into a 506c B. I apologize. Yeah, so I'm still learning.
No, we're
So
all learning here. I'm learning
yeah,
too.
so 506b, you need to be a sophisticated investor, right? 506C, you have to be accredited. So big difference is as a sophisticated, you don't necessarily have to have the financial requirements, right? You just need to be sort of in the real estate space, having done some sort of real estate, like let's say like myself, if I didn't have the financials, then I needed to just, because of my knowledge in real estate, being in real estate, a few years, then I'm able to invest into
Right.
that. Yeah. So those were the different types of syndications you can get into.
I
Go
def-
ahead.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah. So no, I was fortunate that I was able to invest into that deal. The deal itself was a 76 unit in Decatur, Georgia, and it was a pretty heavy value add, if you will, and it's mostly a lot of exterior renovation to the property, and then as each tenant leaves, then we kind of come in and renovate the units, and kind of raise the value of each rent. So basically, the return for that, it's between 3 to 5 years, and it's supposed to be for an investor, it's supposed to be like a 1.9 multiple. It's kind of what I look for, something close to 2 or higher. So I look for that, and then the internal rate of return was about 15%, if I remember it off the top of my head.
Wow.
Yeah.
2 to 3 years is pretty short. I know a lot of syndication deals are like 5 to 7
Yeah,
horizon.
this is 3 to 5. Sorry. This
Nice.
was a 3 to 5.
3 to 5.
Yeah. Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah.
I guess the last part I wanted to mention, well, two last parts. The first is your goals for this year. You mentioned wanting to scale larger. So I guess how will you become a GP or find those deals to GP on?
I think for ourselves, purely through networking. So we ourselves may not necessarily find a deal, but because we have a pretty extensive network, we would again network with someone who may have found the deal, and we would kind of come in as the capital raisers, because we do have some experience raising capital for our mostly joint venture deals. So that's kind of how we plan to do it. But of course, if we do find our own deal, which is even better, because the deal you find, you control. You kind of say, hey, I want this person as part of my team, that person as part of my team. But when you don't find the deal yourself, you're kind of at their mercy, whoever finds that deal. So right now, because we're sort of in the beginning, we kind of have to depend on other people.
Yeah. Like another thing that we were discussing is that there's the potential for someone to possibly wholesale something that they don't want to do because it's smaller or something like that. Because we know a lot of like GPs, they have certain criteria, like, oh, it has to be over 100 units or something like that. It has to meet these standards. And, if it's not and it's like too small, then we're open to take it. If it's like 50 something units. I mean, that alone would pretty much double what our portfolio is already. So
For just one deal. Wow. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Very scalable.
So.
And you're also part of the mastermind, the Warriors mastermind. So you can utilize your network there and find other people who are looking for co-sponsors.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't mind the sirens. It's New York.
No,
Oh, I didn't even hear it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It was kind of
And,
loud.
I guess my last question is, what is that one piece of advice you can share with our audience to get started in real estate, whether it's flipping homes, wholesaling? I know this is a question you asked on your podcast, so I just wanted to flip the question on you guys to see what is that one piece you can leave our audience with.
I'm sure Joey and I probably have a slightly different piece of advice, but my piece of advice is, kind of like I mentioned earlier, there for every deal, there's only three things that are really like at the core of it needed, and that's time, money, and knowledge. So, at least have one of the three, and you could definitely get into real estate either as a flipper, as a wholesaler, as syndicate or something to that extent. And yeah, just to never give up, because like it took me about a year before I even made offers. Like I was in real estate already as an agent, but it took me like a year to make offers, and it took like another like 6 months to a year to actually get something accepted. So it's just all about being patient, and like just once you feel comfortable, like just going all in.
Thank you.
Yeah, for me, it's just never give up. Just keep going, for whatever you're after, right? Because so part of the story I didn't tell you was not to extend this any longer, but
No, please
back
share as
in
much knowledge.
2008, I had a property that I was supposed to flip, ended up turning that into a rental. And I always wanted kind of like a rental portfolio, if you will, because of the supposed passive income, right, from the rentals. So that was always a goal of mine, and so it's not, it took a long time to kind of, I'm not there yet, but to kind of like start seeing some of that come to fruition. So yeah, that just keep going. I mean, we've all had a lot of diversity, challenges along the way. Just also we get approached by a lot of different opportunities as well. So just
Don't get distracted.
yeah, don't get too distracted. Like just always like focus. One good advice I got from several people is just focus on one, just becoming good at really one thing, and then you should be able to achieve whatever your goals are. That's really
Awesome.
it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time today, for sharing all your knowledge. I'm so excited that you guys are continuing to have more podcasts. I can listen to them again. I like download a bunch of them when I was going to the BEC conference and then listen to them on the plane. So it was great to listen in and kind of see everyone in New Jersey who's like active in real estate.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for having us on the show.
Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording.